America is obviously a very divided country right now. We can blame the division on whatever leader you want to. Many would suggest it's Trump. A lot of Trump supporters suggest that President Obama came along defending and supporting Black Lives Matter, a bunch of racial issues like Trayvon Martin, and they're suggesting that divisiveness started under President Obama. I reserve my opinion somewhere in the middle. I will say that likely a hell of a lot of division started with Barack Obama, because the first black man to do any damn thing is going to create a lot of division, because there's a lot of folks that don't want the first black man to do it. Whether it's Jackie Robinson in baseball or any other area of life, the first black man generally comes with a lot of division. But obviously Trump, from his actual mouth and Twitter account, says and does a lot of divisive stuff as well. So if it started with Obama, it's safe to say Trump did absolutely nothing to improve it. So we'll leave it at that. You can pick and choose who the hell you thought was divisive. I got some Trump supporters who claim that Trump tried to unite the nation, and I don't know where the hell that's coming from. But we're going to talk about division and being divisive, because I want you to think back. Remember what Michelle Obama said?
How we explain that when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
When they go low, we go high. Do you still agree with her now? Do you still think that makes sense? You still think the Democrats have even an ounce, even an iota chance of defeating the current state of the Republican Party by being nice, by going high? Did you see Trump address the nation, calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas, calling Democrats radical and all that? You think going high is going to compete with that? Now, maybe you don't favor divisive rhetoric. I get it. But do you think you could win without it in this environment? So we're going to talk about that. I'm sitting around now. I favor a hell of a lot of talking heads all over social media and or cable news outlets. I tend to like the Bill O'Reillys, the Chris Cuomos, a little bit of left, a little bit of right. I avoid the extremes. So if you get too far to the left, you get too far to the right. The Don Lemon's too far to the left. The Sean Hannitys are too far to the right. So I like to orbit somewhere left and right of center. I'm watching Chris Cuomo, and very similar to Michelle Obama's statement, he says this:
we don't want our elected representatives to sound like people that we see on the subway. That's not what you're looking for. You're not looking for them to be common in terms of our limitations and weaknesses and inadequacies. That's not what we want our leaders to mirror, to reflect, to echo. We want them to be our best examples of ourselves. That's what we've gotten away from. That's why our levels of political decorum and our respect for a lot of institutions is in the turlet, is that it's gotten too common, too base, too lowest common denominator.
Now, Chris Cuomo leans left, regardless of what the hell he tries to tell you. I've been watching the guy for years when he was on CNN. He leans left. He clearly did not vote for Trump, claiming that Trump tried to harm his family or whatever, but just listening to his political aspirations, he sounds like he leans left. And obviously his brother, Andrew Cuomo, now running for mayor of New York, former governor of New York, is obviously a Democrat as well. So Chris Cuomo leans left. I don't think that's up for debate. He criticizes a lot of right-wing talking points, politicians, and causes. So he definitely leans left. I don't see him as far left. I know a lot of my MAGA viewers see anybody that's not right as a far-left lunatic, like what Trump was saying during the address. But no, they're center-left, they're center-right. However, what I want to ask you folks flat out is, in regards to what Chris Cuomo and Michelle Obama said, do you agree with it? When a politician is going low and saying all kinds of divisive rhetoric, should you go high? Should you take the high road? Now, it's a difference between saying something that's divisive, that is true, as opposed to just a blatant, flat-out insult that's meant to be divisive. Perfect example, calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas. That is not true. I mean, if you want to bring up that she lied on a law exam back in or a law application back in 1986, claiming she had Native American heritage, then damn it, just say that. You don't call her Pocahontas. That's a slur to the Native Americans, according to the Native Americans. So that's just being divisive, at least dividing Trump from a hell of a lot of folks that are Native American. That's just being divisive for the sake of being divisive. So I'm asking you, do you agree with Chris Cuomo and Michelle Obama that you should try to avoid the name calling, respect the office, talking about whether it's a governor or president, sitting senator, general, any of those kind of folks that Trump is known to insult? Do you believe that you should go high and avoid the nicknames, all of that stuff? Or do you like the notion of he talks like a typical New Yorker, he's rough around the edges? As long as he's getting the job done, I don't give a damn what he says. Because you hear Chris Cuomo suggesting that we want a higher level of respectability from our politicians. I'm not seeing that. I talk to MAGA every day, and they're damn sure quite secure in what Trump says. Now, they don't always favor it when it happens to him, and I'm going to give you a hardcore example. This is hardcore right here. Check this out.
Thank you. We're back from our last time, and where we brought up this possibility, in my mind, still a possibility, that Donald John Trump is suffering from late-stage venereal disease. I said syphilis, but it could be chlamydia, I don't know. And a lot of people, a lot of responses, a lot of MDs, a lot of RNs, and some were pretty sure that he didn't. Others were, it kind of adds up and makes sense. Now, a couple things here that we need to know when we assessing the possibility of these claims. I mean, first of all, we know he's had a history of sexual relations with people who've had multiple partners in the past. I'll leave it up at that.
Damn. I don't know if James Carville is trying to stay relevant. He has hundreds of thousands of views on his podcast. That guy's 80 years old. He said some pretty rough shit about President Trump, including suggesting that he doesn't like America. I mean, he's constantly swinging hard. He is the Democrat version of President Trump. You talk about speaks like a typical New Yorker? Well, that's what he's doing. You could easily see many of the words coming out of James Carville's mouth, coming out of the mouth of Trump, aimed at some liberal, progressive, or Democrat. So for anybody that says what he's saying is disrespectful, whatever the case may be, just think to yourself, if Trump said the same shit about a liberal or progressive, would you find it as equally insulting? Because Trump has said stuff like this. I don't know about being in an advanced stages of venereal disease, but he certainly was attacking Biden's mental health constantly. So I just want to hear from you folks. Do you think the Democrats should take the route of James Carville, or should they listen more to the likes of Michelle Obama and Chris Cuomo? And if they do, in this politically divided environment, can they succeed by going high when Trump is willing to go through the floor into the basement? Let me know in the comments. As always, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. See you in the next video. And here's another one.
I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing right about him. That boy really ain't right in every way you can imagine.